Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another lovely night here for BPL. It has already been a pretty action-packed season thus far, Dex. And hey, we head down to C League for some really fun action between Chosen and Freefall. And as someone who has seen a lot of the C League teams they have competed, these are two strongs that definitely started strong right out the rip. Chosen being one of the couple undefeated teams left, actually. And as a matter of fact, Dex, going into this right here, they have yet to drop a single map.
Yeah, the only map they ended up dropping in this entire season was in that kickoff tournament right there, where, hey, they got some revenge a little bit later down the line right there against the same exact team where they were able to sweep them there. And as we talked about, haven't dropped the map just yet. Freefall, on the other hand, well, you can kind of tell right there. They're a little bit of a flip of a coin team right here. 50-50. Either they win in a sweep or they lose in a sweep. It's been pretty consistent. So if everything stays the way it has been so far for them, Hunter, it looks like it should be a victory for them here tonight.
Yeah, very much so. And give Freefall some credit. The only team that they ended up having the O2, to Elvin Soul Knife there, which, fair credit, the only other team that is undefeated and not have dropped the map in their other division. So definitely a tough opponent. Pachimari also has looked really good, but hasn't lost a game in their own right, which is why Chosen is the only undefeated team left in this division. So they have a chance here today, put themselves at 3-0, put themselves ahead of a lot of people, and at very least have the comfortability of knowing they're going to the postseason. But Dex, we know, especially in BPL, how important that seeding is, especially if you want to avoid having to go into that play.
Yeah, I mean, it's always important. Every season we see a team start off really good, kind of fall apart towards the end or some point in the middle, and they always talked about as being one of those better teams, should be a team that makes it far, but end up in that lower bracket and knocked down in the first round. Neither one of these teams wants to see that be them here. Very crucial to find that victory here and now to keep the momentum going for both of these two teams here, Hunter.
Yeah, definitely, and it's going to be a tough one for both these teams. Again, I think they've proven to be strong commodities. They have won matchups in the past. They still have a lot to be able to prove, a lot to be able to do here, and honestly, I think for Freefall, this is a really big game for them because they've already faced, including this game right here, two top 3 teams currently. They're looking good, and they can put themselves in a really comfortable position for the rest of the season. But as we're talking about that, we still got to figure out everything that's going on with this match here today, and it's going to be very interesting because I talked about this talent is. I mean, this is a who's who of some of the talent we've seen in the past in BPL, but there's definitely some new names here that I think have contributed very, very efficiently thus far.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a lot of the names here that are definitely recognized just from being around BPL in the past. I mean, Megalast, me and you have casted with her. She used to be part of our podcast as well. I mean, you look at Donk, you look at Oh No, you look at June, you look at Keegs. I mean, these two teams are full of players that have been around BPL for a very long time and have a lot of history to them, a lot of great.
Didn't happen, okay? We all have that one season that just doesn't exist. We wipe it away from our memory. But bright side for teams, this could be a season that they decide to remember, because as I said, it's such a big game for the both of them. But when we're talking about, the regular here, all these map stacks, they are predetermined, so there's no such thing as, hey, we want to go this map, that map. Only thing they have control of are the bans. So when it comes to all these maps locked in place, and we're going to be starting over at Push, and more specifically, Coliseum.
Yeah, and Coliseum, again, everyone likes to talk about push maps as just being this kind of weird hodgepodge with maps. Some players like them, some players hate them, some players don't really care for them, but I think Coliseum might honestly be probably the funnest of any of the push maps here. You always see a lot of interesting comps come out there. Brawl works very well. Dive could work very well, especially around that first bridge just before the checkpoints on each side. You see a lot of teams kind of go towards that. However, you look at what's strong right now, you see the two bans already, Malga and Lucio, coming out here. I mean, no one wants to see a Malga. Sigma still very strong here, but like I said, Dive could be an option. Lucio, me and you have talked about this a lot during Face It League stuff. Lucio's kind of getting banned out early on here, and you're seeing a lot of teams either gravitate towards the Juno or gravitate towards the Mizuki here. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we see from our two teams here tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's the real double on that Lucio as well. Heck, I was casting 6v6 earlier, and Lucio was still the very first ban to come out. I mean, that just says something about this character and the fact that I think everyone prefers either go with that style with Juno and work with that orbital ray instead, or a lot of people also opt to go with the Mizuki, which while it is a slightly slower style, it's a lot more punishing to the tanks that decide to be over aggressive. It doesn't matter what you are. If you go in, you're trained down, you are going to be burnt away, and it kind of comes down to your team or, you know, your division of resources to be able to keep you alive. So definitely have to play safe in that regard, as we'll simply have to wait and see how these two teams want to adjust. Again, they've already had really good success thus far, but you said it earlier, Dex, how quickly things can fall apart, especially when you only have 5 games total in the regular season.
Yeah, and especially because out of the regular season, everything's best of 3, first of 2. Yeah, we have that 4th map in here at BPL for a tiebreaker in case we have a tie somehow. But still, getting off to a strong start or a fast start is something that is important no matter what tier, league, event, competition, scrim it is. You want to get off to that good start here, and you see coming out from both these teams right now, or at least from Freefall. We talked about that Sigma being very strong. On the other side, Arctos showing us the Wrecking Ball. Hunter, me, we've seen a lot of Wrecking Ball here, and again, I always call Wrecking Ball comps kind of chaotic style comps because you're looking for that ball to come in there, pile drive in, and get out as fast as they possibly can. But look over at Freefall, that DPS line triggered on the Sierra and Sonic on the Xion here, our two newest DPS heroes, and we haven't seen a lot of Sierra in a lot of play, but when we do, it always impresses us how much they're actually able to do. It's going to be interesting to see how Triggered plays it here early on.
Yeah, it was a character that was pretty heavily avoided before, but a character that's not avoided. Hey, it's Sigma, and oh no, immediately managed to get rid of Agni to get things started on this one. Arctos is still hanging around on the ball, is getting pretty low, is just going to have to try to get out of here. Immediately gives it up, decides to go over to the Tracer instead.
Yeah, Agnes making the swap over to the Tracer here, like you said. I think it's going to find a little bit better value here in this competition. That Freefall's running, you're able to kind of get around stuff a little bit faster. But as I say that, Sonic finds them right out again, so I don't think we're going to see another swap from them here, but still more and more people falling here for Chosen.
Yeah, it's a little rough to get things started, but again, this is a map type where you can always turn things around. You always have the opportunity. Unfortunately, with Charlie Brown now down, I struggle to believe that anybody except for Arctos can really go and touch this point. It still has like a little under 15 meters, but you eventually have to consider getting that touch.
Yeah, and this is we talk about it especially on a map like Runasapi about that comeback potential. I feel like this is a map where it's very hard to actually do that. You don't see it often. Yeah, granted, you have seen it sometimes, but it's not as often as there's the first pick coming on the side of Freefall here. That is exactly what you needed here if you're Chosen.
Yeah, Sonic running down early, and it's massive as well, but you still have a lot coming up online. Oh no, trying to get up towards that gravitic flux is getting punished very heavily, but you still have both your supports hanging around, able to care. But say that, Jinx gone by Taken, and now this is their opportunity to fight back in this one. Taken gets rid of 3 to clear out that fight, and that forward spawn, it's going to be gained by everybody except for well, actually, no forward spawns. Actually,
yeah, they never got it.
Cavs.
They never got it. Chosen did a really good job there denying the forward spawn right there. And this is a good thing right here. Chosen now starting to get some momentum going their way. Agnes finding out Sonic here early on. And Sonic was a big problem for Agnes at the start of this map. Now they've been able to get their number back here a couple times. We look at the ultimates here for Freefall. Mines, though, out from Arctos here. Going to split up Freefall for the moment.
Yep, and now you have to take advantage of. It's definitely going to make it a little more difficult. Trigger getting extremely low. Good blink punch there from Agni to bring that one back around. And now Chosen back in control of this one, but they still are down the barrel of a full bed of ultimates in Freefall. It really is a dealer's choice as to how they try to go about it, and the Satsuring the spree is gonna get all the damage in, taking June and Taken for that matter, as Chosen trying to hang on by a thread, but it's looking like 50 meters is all they're gonna get for now.
Yeah, and again, if you're Freefall, you love that one right there. Only the spree needed, and Hunter, I feel like me and you see the spree a lot, not really find that much value. Maybe 1 pick, but it found 2 picks early on, and it found 2 valuable picks early on here, allowing Freefall to not have to invest anything else into that fight. You look over at Chosen now, considering about Sanctuary, their own spree, their own pulse bomb, about to be online here. If you're Freefall, you need to win this fight pretty early on here, or Chosen's going to have some tools in their disposal to use back right at you.
Yeah, definitely. And now forward spawns do come through for Freefall. They may have lost keys right here, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they do have those forward spawns that can get people back quickly, as they're all going to wipe down in pretty big succession. Sonic, the only one still hanging around, is going to die right there, and I don't know if they'll catch forward spawns. It's going to be close, but I think they're going to miss out.
Let's see. Just missed out a second right there. And now if you're Chosen, I mean, you didn't get any ultimates out there from Freefall, so you have ultimates to play with right here as well, as you already see 2 out from Chosen and 1 out from Freefall here. Actually, 2 out from Freefall.
Wow, and they're trying to go for it. Now Taken's going to the back. Doesn't get the same value with the spree, unfortunately, and now Chosen's going to double down to try to win that fight for the mines, fooling nobody as Chosen ends up using 3 ultimates into that fight, and unfortunately, they don't come out the other side the winner, so now they have nothing to really react to when this Ravitic Flux is going to come through.
I mean, they also have Triggered's ultimate here as well, and another spree coming online here, and I love how Triggered's kind of been playing this Sierra here. Always, I feel like we're seeing the tracking dart be hit onto Arctos, because a lot of the times Arctos just has to disengage from the fight there, giving Freefall so much momentum and advantage in a lot of the engagements right now, but you're seeing Chosen trying not to give up the forward spawns back to Freefall just yet here, but down Angst, you're not going to be able to find much here.
No, not at all. That's going to be really rough. Not enough Freefall is in an even better position right here. Taken is trying to bully the backline a little bit as forward spawns do come back into play, and that lead is going to start to extend, but I think makes a really good choice going over to the mate to have a little more stability in some more of these fights. But still, Dex, it's got to have that value quickly because you're going to do the Sanctuary to stay alive, but it's not going to stop Ono from still trying to force everybody down, even if the Flux misses.
Yeah, but again, you find one pick here on the Arctos. There's not really anything that Chosen can do right now. Arctos is essentially your main instigator, your main initiator into a lot of these engagements outside of Agnes, who was on the Tracer, now over to the Mei as it's desperation swaps here. You see the mirror right now coming out here for Arctos, going over to the Sigma as well. June make a swap to the Bap Hunter. It's last-ditch efforts here for Chosen.
Just gonna have to pull it up somehow because they still have a spree that's ready to be run down into their backline. Whenever Sonic pulls the trigger and you see Sonic waiting to go, is gonna go for it, gonna try to burn some bodies, gets rid of June. Now Chosen backs could be against the wall, but it's a really good count right here to, you know, take everyone back and forth. And while Freefall, they're in control of the fight. The spawns are exceedingly closer for Chosen, so as long as they get some stabilization, could be able to get everybody back in, but even as I say that, they're still losing people.
Yeah, you cannot afford to necessarily be playing aggressively like this. I mean, getting out that Immortality field early on there is huge for Freefall. I mean, they have some ultimates to play with right now, and the rest of their team is going to be back here.
Charlie Brown's going to have to pull this out sooner rather than later. Eventually, we'll get it out. Oh no, getting low, but unfortunately, it's Chosen that's beginning to fall over one after another. Just Charlie Brown hanging around. And for Freefall, they are going to finish the point with 3.5 minutes left on there. Chosen losing their of the regular season, and Freefall looking wonderful to get this started.
Yeah, and again, we talk about just momentum early on in these games. You want to have them, and Freefall has that. But Hunter, another thing I said, Freefall has been basically a coin flip of a team so far this season. Either they sweep 2-0 or get swept 2-0, keeping their pattern going right now as they lost in their last game 2-0. So I mean, it's up to Chosen right now to be able to slow them down here, because it seems like everything Freefall wanted to do that first map, they were able to do it, and really nothing came out there from Chosen to be able to slow them down.
Yeah, unfortunately not, and it was quite a back and forth for the first couple of minutes for sure. Again, you see the early advantage being taken away by Freefall. Eventually takes it back for the most part, but they never actually get their own forward spawns, and they try to make adjustments, and you have to give them credit every time a team decides, hey, we're gonna make a. Unfortunately, I think some of the good ones came in, too little, too late kind of situation that May definitely could have found a ton of value, but they were already really far behind at that point. So now we'll have to see how going to adjust going into this next, and like you said earlier, with it being a best of 3 potential final map as well. And I know Chosen, the way this team plays, this is the way they want to lose their first match.
No, especially after losing their first map of the season since the preseason tournament here. They definitely do not want to see that. However, you have to remember who Chosen banned out in that first map. That was the Malga ban coming out for them here, especially going over to a map like New Junk City. Malga does find a decent amount of value. So does the Sigma. Chosen will have first bans here as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see which way they go. Do they stick with the tank line, or do they go after maybe something else? Because that Sierra was working very good there for Freefall for the most part of that map. However, it'd be really interesting to see a Sierra ban, because Hunter, I don't know if me and you, across everything me and you have casted, have ever actually seen that happen. Maybe once.
That's a really good question. maybe once. And if it is, we just couldn't remember it, and it wasn't even a target ban. It was just, hey, we just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we could see, because I think Sonic found a ton of success over on the Xion, but the thing I would take into consideration, depending on where we're going next, is that Sigma from Ono is also a massive threat and a really big thing to deal with. And we always have the conversation of, is it smart to save a ban for a map 3? Because that's inherently a risk, because it's great if you get there, but you have to get there in the first place.
But again, you look at the map order here. If we do go to a map 3, this is definitely one of the instances where you'd say, hey, if we could save the Sigma, it finds a lot more value, considering our third map, if needed, is Circuit Royale.
Oh, gosh, yeah. And at that point, that is Sigma's paradise. But to be fair, we see a lot of people opt for something like the Ramatra instead for that map. That's usually what people pair with, like, the Mei. That's been the popular thing for a while. I feel like that's begun to change just slightly over the last couple of weeks. Maybe it's just been what I'm seeing. Maybe it's the teams we've been watching. But I have seen that slight switch around. But we'll have to wait and see what the bans are going to be. Obviously, Chosen losing that map, they're going to get the first selection at that ban. And it's going to be a scenario where also they decide maybe they also want to protect something instead. Because, again, they already got banned out once. It had to, I feel like, change up their style pretty differently to what I'm used to seeing in the past. So we'll simply have to wait and see how it goes through. But I feel like this ban is likely going to be more of a target than a protection.
Yeah, and you would have to imagine that. However, you have to remember both these two teams, everyone is here. You would expect subs. I mean, you would expect maybe full different teams coming out here, maybe one or two players staying, but it all depends on who is here for the matchup, as it always kind of is the case in BPL right now, to figure out who's actually available for this game. But if you're Chosen, you want to be able to put in maybe your best players that are available right now, even if maybe there's other players that maybe should be able to get in here. But it's gonna be really interesting to see. Again, we're still waiting on what our bans are going to be here right now. But again, we could see the Sigma come out here. Again, Malga and Sigma are probably the two go-to tanks for a lot of players right now, a lot of teams right now. Then you can kind of fall in that weird rabbit hole of what other tanks do we expect to see? Could it be the Ramatra? Could it be the Orisa? I saw Rhine earlier today in OWCS, and it worked. So that's definitely an option. And you know, some players out there will say, hey, if it worked in OWCS, it could definitely work in BPL.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen more Ryan over this entire day of casting than I have over the course of like the last 3 weeks. It's been a little crazy so far, so I'm down for some Ryan action. And to be fair, New Chunk City, not exactly a weak map for the man. I gotta be honest, it'd be really funny to end up seeing. But we'll have to see what it is momentarily. Dexys, you seem to have something on your mind, as it's looking like the no.
I saw the bans before the stream came up. It was just like, oh dear God, we're hyping up the ride, we're hyping it up, and then it's not even gonna be available.
I can't believe any of this. Like, I had one thing today, one thing. That's all I wanted. You know what? I blame June for this. Honestly, that's where the blame's going on this one.
Okay. Freefall though banning out the Sojourn here. They had second ban here again. Sojourn, I'm gonna be honest, I don't necessarily remember if we even saw it from Chosen last round here, but definitely on a map like this, you do see a lot of good opportunities for that Sojourn to find a lot of value, especially that slide jump, being able to get from point to high grounds, especially on, I believe, 3 of the 5 points on this map. There are that slide jump up from point to high ground, and one of them is, well, you can slide down and away from point to the low ground instead. So I think the Soj is actually a very good ban here, but what does that mean for, well, DPS lines? Does Xion stay in? Most likely. Does Tracer stay in? Most likely. Sierra, still there, but again, it all depends on who is actually playing this time around.
Yeah, we're gonna find out pretty shortly here, because like you said, if these players do have subs ready to go, everyone does need to play a map. So it's changes they're going to make, and maybe it's worth talking about now while we're, you know, getting everything set up here. Well, okay, my blame has been rectified. Okay, I see. It's very clear.
June hates fun, apparently, everybody.
June hates fun. Let's get that as the tagline here soon for before we go to break later.
BPL Season 8, June hates fun.
June hates fun. Oh, but hey, this map has every reason to be fun. You know, we might get Malga It's everyone's favorite tank in the world.
Yeah, we might get the Samoan wall of meat coming out here right now. But again, we're going to see it here in a brief moment. But look at the lineups now. A lot of different names in here. You still see Triggered and Sonic over on Freefall, but Joe Badonk, Keegs, and Jinxed in as well. I believe Keegs was in. Joe Badonk and I believe Jinxed are subs. If I remember correctly, I might be remembering wrong.
Jinxed was in.
Okay.
Feel pretty sure.
But we do see June, Charlie Brown. I want to make sure I get this name right here. Koenig. Agnes is still in and Taken's still here.
Yeah, so it really is just man, this looks like it really is just a ban going over towards the not ban, a swap out for the tanks, which makes things exceedingly interesting, by the way, especially as Badonk looks to be over on that reset to get the started encounter to that Sigma that's now coming out from Koenig. And not from the other side. So it's going to be really interesting to see how the styles change up because Koenig is taking in water severely already. But I like the fact that Freefall is kind of taking their different angles. They're making sure to not simply stay in one line and get poked away. And you take the trade from the DPS line right out the... So now Chosen could be in a decent position right here. They can still poke away very well.
Yeah, but Chosen's going to be able to get the first point cap here because you need to have everyone alive right now for Freefall. They're trying to find their way back in as Supersonic on the off angle. Not going to be able to find anything much just yet, but a lot of how this entire Freefall comp is going to work is how much space is Joe Badonk going to be able to get on their own here. Supersonic, though, might have put themselves into a bad spot.
Yeah, everyone's going to turn for Sonic and now taken care of. That could be critical because Freefall, they're already down 2. It's looking like they're going to have to simply back out of the situation, get everybody out of here alive. They're definitely trying to. They still technically have 4 in there right now, but you lose out on Trigger now. It's just been like a slow burn these last 20 seconds.
Yeah, the problem is with this comp for Freefall is you, again, like I said, everything's playing through Joe Badonk, so you need to have that sustain right there. But your DPS line really needs to be able to find someone early on. And you see Trigger getting off the Sierra, going over to the Casty instead. The Flashbang is going to actually help out immensely into what Chosen's running here, especially with Agnes and Taken being able to try to find that back line here a little bit. Just that slight stun is going to be able to buy them so much space. As Joe Badonk does have this the Terror Switch ready to go, and they're using it right now.
Yeah, have to use it literally just to stay alive. Unfortunately, it doesn't really do a whole lot. Flux thrown out. It's going to catch over onto Badonk, who's going to be able to stay alive through it all. It's a lot being committed in all fairness right here, but Triggered is gone. Badonk.
And the orbital?
Yeah, that was the... Well, to be fair, it was a little earlier. I don't hate the decision, but they lost somebody like a second after it was used.
I was going to say, maybe we see some swaps come out here from Freefall because they look like a shell of the team that we saw in the first round. First map right there. Jinx, yeah, going over to Lucio now needs the speed here, honestly, with Joe Badonk on this Orisa. You just need to be able to get from point A to point B a little bit faster here. But you look over the other side for Chosen. I mean, they only use those 2 ultimates. They have 3 incredibly good ones ready to go here, Hunter. And unless Joe Badonk lands a huge javelin onto Agnes, that Death Blossom is going to be free. Actually, that Death Blossom might just be for free anyway.
Might not even need it, honestly. Could have used it for sport at this point, but no, just going to hold on to it. Double DPS ultimates for them. But, I mean, Keegs having the rush is pretty big, as Badonk, I think, maybe wisely making the choice to go over to the Ramatra instead.
Yeah, again, it just felt like the Orisa was a little bit too big body there for Freefall to really get anything going. You go over to this Ramatra now, you have a little bit more poke, you have a little bit more sustain in the brawl here, but still, you're walking into 2 ultimates on the other side, and you're using one of your only ones right now if you're Freefall.
Yeah, Badonk taking out water quickly, Death Blossom in the back line. It's only going to find Badonk, but to be fair, it's a really big pick as the DPS are going to be cleaning out house. June, a little house care as well as Chosen up 50%. And while they use the double DPS, I think that's worthwhile to live through that rush.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly worthwhile. I mean, look at the point percentage right now. You're basically coming into Final Fight territory right here if you're Freefall, and you only have... If Triggered lives here a little bit, you're going to have both your DPS ultimates here, but Chosen, June could really build up Chosen could have the Sig and the Kiri ultimate here pretty soon.
Yeah, not going to burn anybody away quite yet, but Koenig taking on way too much water right there. Will be taken away. Triggered, though, staying on the steam, trying to do the 80 strafe with the shield. Isn't able to pull it out, but maybe the damage is already done as Agni has already got rid of 2. They're sitting in a decent territory right now, but you just have Charlie Brown sitting by for care, and you just lucked out on that. Badonk doing a really good job this entire fight, is able to get rid of another, and now Taken, sitting at 1 health, is hiding below. Would love to get out of here alive, but that is not promised yet.
No, but if you're Freefall, you desperately needed that fight. I mean, you could not go down this map 2-0 and not have a single percentage to your name here. You desperately need that one here, but Chosen is in a much better spot here with ultimates. Look, you have your Flux, you have your Continuous Rush, not that far away from another Death Blossom, but Freefall, they're going to come up on some ultimates here as well momentarily, and they need to use them right here. Jinx is going to have this beat. It's going to be very big as June uses the Continuous Rush early on.
Yeah, Speed ready to go as well to be able to counteract if it is needed. And hey, you have Annihilation as well, and they're going to go and commit into it right now. Kona's going to go for it. Unfortunately, will be taken out, and it's now a commitment from Freefall to wipe away what's left of Chosen. You would love a couple of late picks in there as well, and you'll get that onto Acne in June, but realistically, maybe they can get a touch. I mean, Taken would have to be the one.
Yeah, Taken would have to be the one here for them to get that touch. Maybe Agnes as well, potentially, just to get that TP on. Might have to sacrifice themselves, but if you want to have the touch, if you really believe that you have a chance here, you might have to take it. But Trigger get use his Death Blossom here early just to try to find something. Buys no space, but honestly, Chosen still gets the touch.
Yeah, Rush has to be used to stay alive, and with that, Freefall put themselves in brilliant territory. Triggered amazing headshot right there, forcing everybody back, and hoping to finish this one off right here as eventually they will do so. So they'll tie this one up, looking a lot better. I think a lot of it goes from not only the faster playstyle, but the Ramatra making things so much easier to walk forward.
Yeah, you just needed that. You just needed something to change there for Freefall, and you got it. That one change from Jobadon going over to this Ramatra is just that. You have a little bit more momentum. You're able to play a little bit more aggressively, knowing that you're not going to have to use that gold form a little bit early on here. You have the shield, Nemesis form to get you out some sticky situations, and now Sonic picking up right where they left off, back on that first map.
Yeah, it's been a menace the entire series so far, and Koenig is being pushed back by the Ramatra, and now Koenig might need to be the one to consider making that swap eventually, because ever since we've had that swap come through, it's been really hard to stay alive. Got taken out of that flux last time, as well as Freefall is going to be capping this point, and they're not going to have any contention in terms of that. But with 4 ultimates on the board, Chosen, they have a way to do something. They just need to commit to a couple of these ults, but getting rid of a dog might be a way to do it without it, but Sonic has been so willing to let this thing loose as you manage to get rid of 2 at the end of the day with a little help from Trigger. Gets Cinerush late into the game as well, committing into here as the support line trying to care for each other, trying to hang around as Chosen are still falling one after another despite Trigger losing out on the ult. They are committing everything to win this fight, Dick. It is literally do or die for them, and it's going to work out by the looks of it.
Eventually, but giving up the Freefall here, this is an incredible stagger. This fight has been long lost for the longest time here, but you got out 4 of the 5 ultimates that Chosen had there, and yeah, you had to use 2 of your own, but look at what you have coming in this next engagement. Death Blossom, you have your Annihilation, you have your Kitsune Rush. You're in such a better spot here if you're Freefall. However, Agnes and this Death Blossom could end a fight before it really even gets started, and I think that's a big thing that Chosen is going to be looking to do here. Agnes should just try to find a spot where they can hide themselves in the corner, not necessarily let themselves be known, but it seems like Freefall is going to rotate up to the high ground, and instead it's just going to be Agnes just TPing across the point there to meet them head first.
Death Blossom ready to go, waiting for the opportune time to go in, is going to let it loose really early on here, but going to force a ton of resources out, including the beat, but now yeah, there's nothing left to throw in right now. If you're Chosen, though, you're gonna get run down here, and it's a struggle to stay alive long enough for all of these to be able to run out. And now, things even back up. Triggered is taken care of, and you get the flip back your way as well as Dune. Agnes are burning everybody down. Joe has to eventually, yeah, just fall down over here, but with how much they are able to stall that out, and the fact they got the flip means Chosen might, I should say Freefall, might be able to get one more touch.
They might get one more touch here. It's going to have to come down to Jinx probably getting it here for them, which, granted, they have multiple ways to get in. You do see Sonic over there. Maybe they'll ride in on the bike to try to get it. But Chosen, I mean, this is going to be basically a dry fight here. Yeah, Sonic could build up to that spree, but it's going to be very difficult for them to really use it here early on, especially as they're already almost dead. And actually, no, they are dead.
Yeah, and now Long is able to stay alive a little while. Long Koenig is getting plenty of carry, and you have both supports alive. But as I say that, Charlie Brown down as well. This is a war of attrition. In fact, a lot of these fights have been an absolute war of attrition and stamina for these teams to be able to succeed. But someone who's been popping off big time is Triggered, who finds another big shot over onto June. Gonna force it back their way, and now it's Chosen to have to worry about who's touching this point.
I mean, it's going to be difficult here. You're probably looking at Taken on the bike, just being able to get back here. But if you get a touch here, you have the ultimates all rolling up to you right now if you're Chosen. You're going to have the chance to play Agnes, though, gonna be the one to get the touch here, so you will have overtime. That flux, and expect a lot of other stuff coming out here from both teams, honestly, Hunter.
Jedi ready to go. It's been used from super long distance as you catch onto a couple of targets. Trigger gets through with it, and this flux is going to mean diddly squat at the end of the day. That is 4 for Triggered to finish out that fight, and now it is map point online here for Freefall.
And Chosen, again, so close. They're able to get that point back to 99% right there, back and forth. We're seeing a much different Chosen team than we saw on the first map here, but they need to be able to get over the hump here. Yeah, they had a great first point, but ever since the swaps that came out from Freefall, Chosen has just not been there. Now you see Koenig go over here to this Ramatra of their own here to mirror Jobadonk, as that Ramatra for Jobadonk has just been absolutely insane for Freefall, as well as everyone else kind of woken up as Jobadonk finds June out early.
Yeah, and Death Blossom is canceled out as well, and it's another big fight. It's going to be 3 for Sonic, and these last couple fights have been disastrous for Chosen, as Freefall gonna retain this point through, as Agnes is gonna switch over to the Mei now.
Again, it looks like you're trying to go back to the play style of we want to be able to section someone off. Jobadonk is taking space, like they're still playing the Orisa here. You section them off, get rid of a lot of their abilities early on, be able to punish them here, especially with 3 ultimates online here for Chosen. It could really work out for them here, but Jobadonk, I think they recognize that Mei, and they're not going to get trapped off. Instead, they're going to be risen up by that ice wall.
Yep, and it's a big commitment, but it's a lot being thrown in. Jobadonk has gotten rid of 3 with the Annihilation, make it a 4th. Trigger will steal that ace away, but if you're Freefall, you're happy because you could be 1 fight away from the clean sweep and breaking Chosen's undefeated streak.
Yeah, and again, I mean, you go back to that first point, Freefall looked like a completely different team, and Chosen looks like they had woken up. They figured out Chosen a little bit. 1 swap was all that Freefall needed. And ever since then, you see it right now, already the beat coming out. Jobadonk needed that to keep themselves alive, and they bang Agnes off of it.
Yeah, you take the trade out, but to be fair, you lose out on Taken. It's a rush for the supports to be able to make it over to the point. And to be fair, you're gonna get it, but June's the only one standing on the point. Koenig is down, and this overtime is gonna tick away. Freefall gonna give Chosen their very first loss, as Freefall will improve to 2-1.
Again, the flip-flop of a season continues for them here. They got swept in their last one. Well, they turn it right around and get a sweep in this one. Like you said, handed Chosen not only their first map loss, but their first series loss of the season as well. And honestly, maybe a little bit too early to call it a must-needed victory here for Freefall, but you'll gladly take it anyway.
Yeah, and it makes things incredibly chaotic now, because if you take a look at the division over here, which is Claire specifically for Steed League, there is now 4 teams that are 2-1 right now. That's insane. And to be fair, I don't know the threshold off the top of my head, but I think top 4 is reasonably it. So there is a lot of implications here, because Chosen went from being that top team to potentially having to be in play-in territory. And it comes down to some of their last matches as well. Like, it's rough for them, but there's still time to bounce back. They've still had some of their tougher bouts right out the rip. But for both these teams, I mean, it's a battle, but Chosen, man, it's rough for them. But Freefall, I think, just maybe wanted it and needed it more.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the standings right there. We're going to pull them up here so that everyone can kind of see what we're talking about. I mean, you look at it right here. I mean, those top 4 teams, same record, same map diff. There's really nothing that's separating them here at all. Sixth Kingdom and Raw struggling here a little bit, but still, Sixth Kingdom, 1 victory away, especially over any of those teams above them, and they're tied with them. Raw, if they find 1 or 2 victories here, it becomes a conversation of, hey, this team might be able to jump another one. I mean, it's still early in the season, but hey, it's just, you never know what could happen, especially here in C League.
Yeah, but this is where the toughest of it comes down, because I did some investigating. Freefall, their last 2 games are against Sixth Kingdom and Raw. They have put themselves statistically in a really good situation, but it is maybe the complete opposite for Chosen, who still have to do games against Pachimari and Eternal X, who have been really successful in their own right already. It's been a lot of, trading of wins between these big teams that we're kind of struggling to find out who the best team here actually is. And maybe it's that early strength of schedule where things were really tough on, teams like Freefall, where they're going to be able to rise above and, potentially go 4-1 and be one of those top 2 seeds that doesn't have to worry about play-ins at all.
Yeah, again, it's always an important thing. Still, a couple games left for these teams. A lot can change. That's going to be the biggest thing that everyone has to kind of be prepared for. But hey, the only thing that kind of can keep the status quo is you just keep on winning and make sure you win in sweeping fashions. Don't have these series go to 3 or potentially even 4 maps. Granted, I don't think if you tie somehow it negatively affects you. It'd just be funny to see it.
Yeah, I don't know. My brain tells me we did it at some point during the preseason tournament. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like the singular map for, and I couldn't tell you what game it was from. I'm sure I could investigate and find out at some point. That's a lot of research, though, that I do not have time for. I wish I had time and could fact check myself, but I hate to say it, I cannot do such a thing.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, still a lot of action left to be played this season for these teams. I think there's still more stuff going on tonight, though, in BPL.
Oh yeah, there is a lot going on. I mean, the main for a while already. If I'm going to check over on there, because I know they have a game that is currently, or actually just ended, as a matter of fact, as it's looking like King just got a really big win over Hongza. So that's a big one over there for B League. But I know there's more action after that as well. But hey, the bright side of that, to wait and see, because again, a lot of people did schedule their games for like days like this, so there's a lot of players, a lot of teams that are trying to get their games in, and honestly, I'm excited for it because there's a couple of super sick games lined up for the rest of the night, including some of our top teams as well. So I don't know, Dex, there's a lot to be excited about with BPL, just saying.
It's that way every season, man. Don't want to miss any of the action. Make sure you follow all the Twitches here and on YouTube as well, because I believe we're co-streaming over, or we're also broadcasting them there as well.
Yeah, 100%. But we're going to go ahead and cut away from things here for the time being. Again, there's a lot of action still going on, especially over on the 8. They're to get one of their matches started here pretty soon, as well as they're going through the victory right now. So, hey, there's still plenty of action going on here tonight. So stick around. There's plenty more to come. We'll see you for some more BPL here soon.
Hello, hello. Welcome everyone back to BPL 8, Season 8. It's hard to think how many seasons we've been through. My name is Biscuit. I will be your caster for the day. And next to me, BNG form is Jace. How are you doing, Jace?
Hello, hello. Ready for this cast? There's some World Cup going on outside, but there's some big important games going on in
It's
BPL as well. Odin
It's true.
versus Noble Steed. Let's
You
get
know,
it. This will be my first look at Noble Steed, actually.
As your local Mexican, I will advise you cheer for Mexico. Let's go. We can win, you guys. But yeah, talking about the important matter at hand, it's gonna be just like you were saying, the game today about Noble Steed versus Odin. Reminder, it's gonna be the first to two. Our players are ready, so we kind of have to go a little bit fast. So let's go and check some of these rosters, Jace, if you haven't seen them. I'm a big fan of Noble Steed personally, just because of Wi-Fi. Big fan of them. But not doing the best. Just right now, actually. A solid core, I would say, especially with like Skyser, Austin, Wi-Fi, and Walkability. Players that I know a lot, but Odin is not left behind at all either.
Yeah, I think Odin's roster is completely ridiculous, to be honest. Noble Steed, I think you've got some all right players. Odin's taking a bit of step up. I remember they had a little bit of trouble in terms of very bold call to only go with one tank. They don't really have four supports, from what I can see as well. But this Odin roster, I think Laser is only fated to play one today, and Twisted is also AFK, so they might have to throw Adwa on DPS for a map, depending on how tired Laser is. But this Odin roster is still completely ridiculous head to toe, so I think they're heavy favourites on paper going in.
Yeah, and Odin, especially with like Lacer, Naktara, some very good players for sure. The rosters are not looking bad at all, but you know, rosters are not all going into our actual game, right? So going into our maps, the maps have been pre-selected. We will have, again, as I was saying, a first two, and we will see who will come out on top. I am not particularly sure how this things will shake out. Both teams have been doing okay. Again, Noble Steed not on the best streak ever, but hopefully they can find their footing soon. We're gonna send a Colosseum, move on to Surabasa, guaranteed. Should we need it, we have Circuit Royale, and in case of some strange, random little tie, Oasis will be our last map.
So it looks like some of the maps might actually be really quick, particularly if it ends up being a 2-0. You're absolutely right. The game's never won on paper. Players can overperform, players can underperform. It can be compositions. Some teams just struggle into others, like stylistically. And Circle Royale, I think, is a very even playing field, as is Push, though, to be fair. But yeah, if both of our teams are ready, then let's just get straight into it. No need to wait around, right?
True. But what we do have to call out first, though, I think the bans are happening, so not fully ready just yet. It would seem like Odin has their ban locked in. They're banning Kiriko, which has been a very popular ban this season. Almost every cast that I've done, it's gonna be Kiriko ban after Kiriko ban after Kiriko ban, and I mean the character is always good. So Kiriko is out of here. Noble Steed, what will they ban? I think they might just ban a player in particular, right?
Yeah, they could try and target ban like maybe. I mean, support pulls out. Does Cam have a wrecking ball in him? I don't know. Ball is quite strong at the moment. Shion could potentially be one. I wonder if Noble Steed fancy himself with Shion against what Odin have got. For Noble Steed. The Odin Kiriko ban makes sense. He's got a lot of supports, a lot of them playing.
Oh, Noble Steed. Looks like the time for thinking is over. Yeah, we're banning the Zarya. Which, you know, not the worst ban ever. Yeah. The character has always been solid. I think she got buffed recently going into this BPL season. So she's been strong.
Yeah.
And of course, in a map that favors Brawl, she's always gonna be a good pick. And especially think of it just like how much damage she can output, and she's really good at exploiting teams that are not coordinated together. And even outside of just the damage, it enables your DPS a lot, right? A Shion biking in with a bubble, it feels almost unbeatable at times.
Also, just fundamentally, at some point, teams have to walk into the Zarya because of the objectives, and when they do that, you know, that's always going to be difficult for the side that doesn't have the Zarya. I think it also gives tanks just gives them a real pivot to carry off. You can play with your Zarya more supportive by giving bubbles. You can be greedier with it. And there's so many characters it punishes, particularly stuff like Genji classically. It can punish Reaper, which you're hoping to try and blow up. You have the best matchup in some of the longer range stands, but Zarya is so strong and very self-resourceful as well. And just overall, like, Graviton's just the best team fight.
It's just it's a character that is she's a character that is hard to punish, and yeah, we're finally going in. Players have been waiting a little bit probably, but you know, we gotta get things in order eventually, right? Starting up. Shout out to production, Mochi and Knock putting on a almost impromptu BPL V stream. So, you know, thank them. Even though your casters are at the front, lots of work go on behind the scenes. Double Steed hovering the Sigma. Yeah, again, you can never be too sure before they walk out. But still, I wouldn't mind it at all. May, Kree looking pretty good, and Odin definitely on the dive.
I mean, Sigma's one of the just most popular tanks at the moment, particularly taking out Zarya, one of the harder counters. Tank matchup. It's really the only game in the only role in the game that I think gets pretty much directly counterpicked. And one of the reasons why tank has been such a pain point for people. But Cam showcasing his flexibility on the Winston. So going to be offering some relief on offhanders as well on that jetpack down.
Oh my god, already diving in, looking for a little bit of damage here, but there's nothing you can do against that amount of damage incoming from Noble Steed, punishing you with a flashbang, with a couple of shots into the back, and Odin just completely losing the fight before it even gets started. They're gonna get a lot of space here with their Sigma.
This is great for Noble Steed because I think that Minky's wall is excellent. It gives them a snowball opportunity. They might even get a stagger here if Stycer doesn't overextend, which they actually might have done. Okay, this is the one thing you do not want to do after winning first fight on bot. Immediately go and get punished. The grasp is useless against the Winston damage, and it does quite a lot if you keep in that range.
Skies are going in past everything, really, right? Like so many little things. It's like, hey, you have hands, you have barrier, but you're gonna get a bubble put on top of you, you're gonna get flashed, you're gonna get emptied, and you're gonna die. Jetpack Cat finding a last pick for Noble Steed against Noble Steed. And they're stopping onto the Maga. A little bit surprising.
Good Maga swap. I think a little bit of a greed from Stycer trying to get the late stagger onto Noctara, and they just didn't try to respawn properly. But at least now you get the option to quickly counter swap on tank, and Odin get a little bit of pushback. So I expect to see the bot pinging around this Colosseum area for quite a while. Both of these teams really positioning very, very
Ooh, and now you're surrounded everywhere. But this Maga is gonna stomp all over Noctara, getting punished for maybe getting a little bit too aggressive. Noble Steed is gonna push the bot, get a little bit of meters, and the map is flipped on its head. And now if you're Odin, you have to find a way in. You're gonna leap in if you're a Monkey for sure, but honestly, where do you hit anything here that's gonna be an ult coming out? But oh my god, last placer. 3 people with the Sky Noon, 4 people. Can't write them off.
From the top rope, Laser there getting his passport, getting some air miles in, and if Laser watches this VOD back, then he gone, he out of there. That one is absolutely pulverized. Sky Noon in perfect showcase there. Excellent lift from Crow. Mr. Kurtleber has been a main staple in BPL A leagues for quite a while now, and Odin just representing, once again demonstrating the power, the value that their backline can get. Such a smart play. Timing to go for the Sky Noon there, really, really good.
Yeah, now we're talking about the Sky Noon, let's talk about this Nano Blade. Finding a good pick onto Austin. No more brick to keep you safe. And does this Deadeye find the pick? No! The clock ticks so quickly. And Wi-Fi now finds themselves on the other side of this fight. Sry is going to find a good pick onto Minky. No more May. And Noble Steed, just a very unlucky fight. Wi-Fi a second away from one-shotting Cam.
Yeah, great punish. I think Cam been working on his Meta Chameleon game there, been playing that in the warm-up, maybe hiding, getting the perfect spot. They did not see him until the round had already expired, so a little bit of a line of sight.
We don't even have time to talk about what happened because Austin is already getting ran at by the entirety of Odin. God, another Sky Noon!
He has it again.
Fitting in their Sky Miles, like we were talking earlier. 3 people for Lasers, completely dominating this game. 4 people Do we give them the 5th? No, Cam is gonna finish them off, and Noble Steed on the back foot yet again. Laser just putting on a show today.
Yeah, trying to speedrun this. The Cat showcasing perfect power for the Cassidy, and when the Cass is just free hitting against this comp, they're going to get so much ult charge. Laser talked it actually before going in. They said, I've got one of the highest damage numbers in the league per 10, but I'm not shooting the tank. I think I'm going to shoot the tank a bit more today. And Noble Steed, well, they've got the tank that you should be shooting.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're a Noble Steed, you really want to make something happen, which is going to be Noctara getting engaged on my skies are just running at them. Does Pro find a pick onto walkability? Yes, it's going to happen. That is the primal
Let me
coming
see
out
it, Cam.
and just the Korean primal.
Okay. Yeah, how
bouncing
Chinese is
Wi-Fi.
it? How Chinese is it? It's very, very Western. Sorry, it's very, very Eastern from Cam.
Very, very
Amazing.
Eastern, I agree.
Very, very Eastern primal.
Finding 3, Odin looking pretty good. Noble Steed kind of fumbling a little bit.
They just sort of, they're even in the fights that they're trading early, it just feels like one person is disconnected from the play. They don't quite have the resource.
Wi-Fi.
The Stanoon comes in, but like we're just driving it like we're Stanooning, but we're not Stanooning. We're driving straight into a small room with the Stanoon. Makes it easy for the Cassidy to get shot. Like even
those
the
were
middle
not
plays.
Sky Miles. They were just driving like a car.
But they were underground. They were underground miles. They needed that Oyster card for that one. Absolutely. So even in the small plays that Noble Steed try and replicate, you just see the difference already. Really nice start to the series from Odin.
In your Wi-Fi, I think you're gonna be a little bit tilted after that. Actually,
yeah, I mean your cat just griefs you by driving you into the small tight room there. Like you're in flashbang range.
It's gonna show them how you do it. Actually, this is how we fly around here. Sky's is gonna find a good trade into Noctara. No more nades, no more sleep. Wi-Fi finds a good counter, but Laser is just putting on a show. It's all about the crease today on Strive. Where are we going with this play?
Yeah, I mean the Cassie's just able to sit on the high ground the whole time, and that's how you know it's not going too well. The 1v1 just coming down to low HP. With 4 minutes left, we almost hit the crucial part. Odin, for all their fight dominance, have only got themselves 60 up meters, so Noble Steed can very much still play this. Laser gets an lead or exit pick. At the end of the fight there.
I don't want to blame, but that blade was so funny. They burn every second of it, and then they get flashbang and die.
The blade was just overforced. Like the blade was. There's a Jace clip that I'm not going to repeat the quotes. I can't repeat it on a BPL stream about the naked blade, about how I hate it being naked and dry. I'm a married man. Do with that what you will. But Laser gets another opening pick to silence me.
Oh my god!
Backline and Noble Steed are dead.
The nano Winston, I do understand it. I think it's a good engage, and it seems like it's gonna get a lot of value, but a bit of an overcommit perhaps. Kaiser's gonna go down. Noble Steed is gonna be down their tank coming up into this fight. 101 meters, and Jace, it's just looking like Odin is all over the map, and Laser is gonna be ready to fly again soon.
They've got so much pre-built synergy that they're always down to almost synergy gap teams in BPL season. I think Odin are definitely one of the front runners so far from what I've seen. As I said, that synergy gap matters so early, and again, third time lucky. Can we go for the Stanoon? Not really much for Noble Steed to be able to do against it.
We might have to go
hide and pray.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go underground for this one for a little bit. Does it get the pick? You don't really need it because Cam punishes Austin and Minky for trying to hide so aggressively there. You have Primal, you will live this Maga, but honestly, at what cost? Crow is gonna find Wi-Fi. 3 people down for Noble Steed. Make that Laser going down, evening things up if your skies are here. Pretty good, putting them on fire, but at the end of the day, this fight is all for Odin, or is it?
Noble Steed is still in it. They've done a lot of sustain in Skyther and Minky, and the Mauda character isn't the complete sustain monster that it used to be. Ghosts of tank slop past. It's a bit more of a ground Winston, I feel like, these days, with all the power being shifted into the stomp, as opposed to that ignite, the incendiary overhealth, etc. But you can still do a little bit of overhealth regeneration. It's walkability, just taking damage from main for no reason.
I like that they're on Moira, trying to sustain throughout a lot of these dives. And these chains are gonna make it impossible to live if you're a Cam. Making 1000 HP look almost like nothing when you're in front of the Maga. 2 people going down. Wi-Fi is gonna get to pick up the scribe, but the rest of the team is gonna be a little bit harder to pick off. Or that's what I would say. Noctara getting caught up, even if this cat lifts you, you're going down. And Noble Steed showing signs of life after some really rough fights.
Noctara almost Ivy ulted out of there by the jetpack cat. If you play Deadlock, you know what I mean. And Noble Steed, as I said, there was like 60-meter gap. It's now crawled down to just over 50 meters, but we're into the final 90 seconds at Odin. They don't even really need to win this fight, but they want to go for it anyway.
Oh, Crow, using their ult, not quite dragging them off the map, but you don't need to when Minky is going to use that Blossom to trade it in for 2 kills, 3 people down for Odin. And just like you were saying, 70 meters turns into 50, and now it's turning into 40, going into the 30s. Jace, a slow comeback happening. 1 minute left on the clock.
It's absolutely winnable. It's basically like if they win this fight, then Odin are going to be respawned and staggered by near overtime. So Odin need to win one of the next 3 fights, but that's entirely impossible.
Laser.
Wait,
5
Donkey good
people on the
flag.
screen and what a sleep!
Huge sleep from Austin. Austin potentially saves the game for his team. They get all anti-though.
So many people on Wi-Fi is gonna clean up if they're on Austin. Right, they're doing it the cat pick, not at all. They're gonna get out of the map for a little bit. Player flourishing their gun, getting another trick shot. Can we make this a 3? Wi-Fi 1, 2, a couple of shots being hit, but nothing going down. But you don't really need it just yet. Clock is ticking, and the fight is still ongoing. Odin.
That sleep was donkey good. Absolutely perfect timing. Crow didn't have any fuel left. Maybe now if you take the lead with 20 seconds left, it's an enormous comeback from Noble Steed. I thought they were done and dry. They looked so slow, but they made the adjustments. They've managed to find it. They're on an unconventional comp. Maybe Odin are just rocks. They're flustered, Biscuit. They don't really know what they're playing against.
I mean, after that sleep, you gotta be tilted, right? Like, you're just gonna be upset. Like, that was gonna win you the game. You're burning the fate here. 1 second ticking. No one is a bot. Overtime is gonna click in, though. And if you're Noble Steed, you really need just close it out right here. Look at this.
You have
It's gonna be the
Cole.
coalescence.
Yeah.
Keeping up Skyper in the backline. Do we burn the cat? Yes, we do. Another person going down. Austin. No more sleep.
Kill the
Wi-Fi.
Juno. Kill the
Going down,
Juno.
but it's still ticking.
I'll touch the bot. I'll touch the bot. Nope, they can't touch the bot. Excellent cage and Noble Steed. It's not quite an 80, 90 meter comeback, but Noble Steed, I think it's fair to say that we got the sleep from the other perspective, Austin,
Yeah,
but I'm sure that will be clipped up. But that's literally it. That's fight winning from Austin. And for someone that has had a lot of smash talk against him, a lot of people, etc., etc. But we saw how much value that the Sky Noon and the cast getting airlifted was able to get. And Austin just like basically wins that off the back of a solo play. Like that is the fight winning play. That is the map winning play from Austin. As I said, someone that's received a lot of criticism, right, Biscuit, for their play, their rank, etc. But Austin just like completely donkey walks that last fight and solo carries it, I think, for Noble Steed, arguably. What a great sleep. What an amazing sleep.
The team was like stacked up on bot as well, right? So it's like,
Yeah,
you're
they
not
were.
dodging that. And you don't have anything to really block it. I guess you have Monkey Bubble, but it's not like you cannot just chew through that. And one charge up that I shot is going to break it, right? So at the very least, 2 people are dying there. In your comeback fight, like that's the one that you have to win. If you win that, on the side of Odin, you push the bot, even if it's just to the middle of the map, you make it so you have like another fight available to you. It's just a beautiful sleep. It's a beautiful sleep. That's what it is.
A Noble Steed, I like that they just sort of pick what they felt was comfortable. We ended up with a comp of Mauga, Reaper, Anna Moira, and Cassidy. And it only needed to win 1 or 2 fights, but it was good enough. It was good enough. And Skyter actually quietly had quite a good performance on the Mauga, I think. Some really nice cages, some nice stomps. As I said, very much felt like a ground Winston kind of play, but ground Winston on that map with not too much high ground. Yeah, turns out Biscuit pretty good.
It's impressive how, like, again, every fight, I think we were talking about it, how oppressive Odin was being. Everyone on the map making engages so impossible to kind of live through. And then, wow, it really, like, we cannot put it all in Austin, right? Like, as much as I love the play, it's an individual, almost game-winning play. But the rest of that is like slowly but surely winning little fights.
They gotta win the fight. Yeah,
surviving, and just you gotta give it to the entire Noble Steed Wi-Fi, completely overperforming on casts, like punishing people for their mistakes, making it so that every single engage is turning into a kill, and then at the end you have the cherry on top, which is Austin with a beautiful, beautiful sleep.
Yeah, the sleep of course was massive. Well, I think it would be, just in case if someone doesn't watch the VOD back and think I'm some clown that was just hyping up the play for the over narrative, just to be able to pinpoint it. Minky was fantastic pretty much for the last 5 minutes of that map in particular. The Reaper swap, pretty good too. Just really helped pressure out the Winston. And slowly but surely it felt like Noble Steed were finding answers to that Odin composition. And as I said though, like, you know, if you're gonna watch the VOD unmuted, you're gonna go back and watch the whole thing, because I said they've got a lead, but it's not that much of a lead. And you think for how many fights they were able to chain win in a row, Biscuit, or for how many fights they were winning overall for like the first 7 minutes of that map.
Yeah,
They should have had probably a bigger lead than 50 meters, but all credit to Noble Steed for able to getting that, really showcase the power of winning those first couple of fights.
But
on
we were saying it.
push.
We were
They
saying
got
it
about
earlier,
60 meters
right?
for free.
It was like 50 meters, and then it turns into 30, into 20. And what I gotta say is that even though that was a sick game and a sick play, we gotta move into our next game. First to 2, remember?
So that's the time.
Double Steed bringing it back, and the bans are already locked in. Odin is banning the Reaper, making it a little bit easier for them to play the Monkey comp, which they were for sure favoring. And Noble Steed, they ban onto the Sigma, which I don't mind at all. A strong character, really good in a lot of these maps. But on Flashpoint, I wonder if that's something you would really want to pick, especially when you want to go fast and rotate really quickly.
Yeah, I wonder the bans are going to come in pretty quick. I like the Reaper ban. Minky, I think, was doing really good work, and Cam just doesn't want to play against a flex DPS whose whole job it is to make them as miserable as possible. Didn't seem to be getting that from Odin. Didn't really seem to want to opt into that little 2v2 front line. Sigban pretty good. Leaves it open for Circle Royale, which Odin are going to have to play. But Noble Steed here, I mean, BPL regular seasons with these set maps, with player availability, with player circumstances, as I said, it's not on paper. I still think Odin were heavy favourites going into that map, and they showed why in extended periods. But ultimately, you know, I mean, who's going to bet on these? Who's going to bet on these things? Overwatch is a game that's played. Overwatch is a game that's played in the lobby, in the minutes, in the finer details, even at this level where the play isn't the most refined.
It's tough if you're an Odin fan, knowing that they were for sure. I think there's another way to say it, being the better team for sure for a long time. Definitely, some people can debate about like the honesty of a Sky Noon, but you gotta give it to them. Other than that, they were still really solid, and you gotta shake it off. Like, yes, it's a clip. Yes, it's sad that you lose that way, but at the end of the day, we gotta stand on business and bring it back. Show that regardless of having one really unlucky fight, you can still win the whole thing. Odin rolling out on the Maga, gonna be a Maga mirror. Haven't seen one of these ones in a while.
Yeah.
And Wi-Fi sticking onto the Symmetra actually.
Yes, it's not just TP out, by the way, North Americans. This character, it's the strongest region on your server, and it's on mine as well. It's got about a 54% win rate in basically every single rank right now. Wi-Fi on Symmetra, well, let's see how much she knows. I imagine she's got the macro for a very smart player. Remember, she used to play DPS and BPL, only recently playing support. Look at the TP angle. Gives guys to the high ground. That's really low, though. But yeah, Sin is the strongest character in the game right now.
Overcommitting
anyway.
Overcommitting for sure on the TP, right? Making it so that Skysearch is looking for an engagement, but nothing's gonna happen. Laser is just peltering you with damage left and right. Wi-Fi dropping so low. Do you live? No. This railgun, as strong as ever, as strong as the day one patch. Or maybe not so much. Skies are going down. And Noble Steed, you can hit the sleeps, but the game's still going after the sleep. We gotta keep going.
Yeah. So. Just a quick back onto the Symmetra before I would say Wi-Fi drops it after the fight. What you don't want to do on Symmetra is TP, take a ton of damage, and then stall. Wi-Fi was not able to left-click anyone for that entire fight. That's what that character's meant to do. It was probably thinking another tank was going to come up. Now just going to make the swap over to Chastity. Actually likes the Pharah here as well. And Odd just opting to go over to the Tracers. I think we've got a double DPS swap from Noble Steed here.
I don't think it's bad. Tracer as strong as ever, and Wi-Fi really wants to punish Shrine on this Pharah. The Kitsune is gonna come out immediately for Noble Steed, so ahead an ult percentage, at least in that respect. Gonna take the point. It's really hard to contest it, especially with that ult on it. But what do you do on the re-engage? They have the Lucio. They can go way faster than you. Does Shrine re-engage? Do we get a barrage? Do we get an overclock? There's so many ways that you can win this fight, and what will it be? Wi-Fi getting so low that you have to invest the wave. You have to invest your Susu, and you're just taking so much damage. A Maga mirror fight is gonna result with Odin coming out on top. You get into the cage trying to make it a little bit easier for them to live, but it's not gonna happen. 3 people down, and the point is for sure going to Odin.
Yeah, and Wi-Fi gets the exit pick, but absolutely. And Odin won this off the back of... This was 2 fights, by the way, basically. Like, it was fight 1, and then fight 2 happened, and then it went to 99. So Odin just get this point off the back of 1 fight, which is huge for them. Only really needed to commit the cage. The OC came in as well, but they've got both support ults available. Noble Steed are going to be looking to aggress on them. But these support ultimates such a big advantage. It gives you sustain, it gives you cooldown reduction, it gives you angle control as well. And even though a comp is very front to back focused like Mauda, Cam is going to be more than happy to trade with Sticer in this fight. He's got double support ults in the back pocket that he knows Noble Steed just don't have.
You know that you have the ultimate. As long as you have disadvantage, it's honestly looking unlosable. Right, giving you a little bit of a jump scare. Good thing they're on fire. Does this Mirage do anything? Oh my god, the Zeus is timed perfectly, so the Wi-Fi is not interrupted. But can you live the Mirage? I don't think so. That's gonna be 1 person, 2 people for this Pharah. The beat coming in at a perfect time as well, Jace, just to keep Odin alive a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's great timing as well because Noble Steed, look at their ult charges after that fight. Wi-Fi 22, Sticer 7, Austin 6, and it takes a long time to build up these ultimates. So they almost have to feel like they have to poke a little bit for maybe try and get Kiri Rush that's going to be unmirrored from the side of Odin. But let's see how this fight paces out. If you're Odin, it should pace out a little bit slower when you're winning. When you're on Flashpoint, you want to win slowly and lose fast. Build up these ultimates if you're Odin, because you can play for about 90% and then use your ults to retake. But Noble Steed,
just like you were saying, PJ playing the poke game to try and get Kitsune Rush, and they do. Does this pulse bomb hit anything though? They're so scared to commit it, and honestly, as long as they have Suzu, it's worth not doing it. They do get point. Noble Steed stabilizing for a little bit longer, but no one is dead. You still have a fight to play out. Austin giving the water onto their Tracer to try and keep them alive a little bit longer. What a stomp! Awa going down. Without Kiri, you don't have the sustain to keep up your manga in these mirror fights. And honestly, can you win without your Kiriko on this comp? I don't think so.
Mauda can sometimes be such an equalizer because I think Cam on paper, I would say, is definitely a superior tank in terms of Sticer, but Sticer and Austin just going for a hit there on the off angle. And Agua is just insta-dead. That Mauda stop doing so much damage perfectly sets up the CC, so the Soda 5, the Light, whatever that skin is.
The cage immediately committed onto only 1 member of the team, and as long as that's the tank, that's worth it. Cam stomping them out of the map. Get out of my point. 3 people down for Noble Steed, and there's no way that you can win this fight. But Jace, the point is still in their hands, and they're gonna get enough time to come back.
And this is perfect, right? Because Noble Steed were pretty much fried in ult economy in terms of going into this fight. Remember, Ud didn't have ult. PJ was close to it. Austin had just used it. Wi-Fi was on 22%. Now, we've got High Noon. And all importantly, we've got that Weird ult as well. The ults overall aren't the best for Noble Steed individually. But you still need ults to be able to compete with this Odin comp. Can we rush out?
And especially when Laser already took 2 of your teammates off, you managed to touch being Noble Steed. And I do want to highlight, you're still feeling the consequences of the first fight. You lost while investing so much that you didn't have ults going into second. So now it made it incredibly hard. And you have to invest so much to win again. And now we're in the same situation. Odin, 3 ults up and match, well, not match point, game point.
Yeah, particularly when you're thinking about ult economy on Flashpoint, like 2+ ults into a fight loss is just actually devastating. Noble Steed, to be fair, I don't think their ults are particularly too strong. I like Cage in the mirror. Obviously, Kitsune Rush is OP, but the rest of them, I think they charge up fast. So not necessarily the highest of impact. Obviously, High Noon's been massively buffed over. Even still. Beat plus engage.
Running in, I love what Cam is doing here. They're just so fat with the overshield, with the Maga base HP, and they're just completely outpaced. Wi-Fi tries to pop Deadeye to try and stop them, but you have so much HP, so people are already dead. Like, you might as well not even use Beyond.
As I said previously, this Mauda character is just like Winston with more HP. And a higher damage landing impact rather than a shield instead. Much more aggressive, much more offensive. And again, on a flat map like this, if you're looking to just cover flat distance, Mauda's really good. They can even put the ult onto him. Yeah, they go for it.
Austin committing the bubble. It's gonna be a stomp into a flaw. Yeah, there's no way that you can live that. You're gonna find the Kiriko first, and that's the best pick that you can see as an Overwatch player. It's gonna be 3 people for the side of Noble Steed on the other side of the board. That's gonna be a Lucio Sagar as well, or not really. Gonna come back at the same time as Cam, but the same thing that we keep talking about, ult economy. You just invested so much into this fight, and Odin is coming back with 2 big ults.
Yeah, they did invest a little bit, and it's their autonomy is looking a bit dire. But again, they can now afford to play slowly. They've got Cage, which might be able to do a little bit of the aggression. I think Barrage is a pretty good counter into it. But Noble Steed, their hits with Top actually has been quite good. Definitely something to look for going forward. Laser just wins the Ego 1v1 against them. Thought they were down. No, they were not.
Getting picked first, and Laser just showing them what they can do. They can do this on any character. Picking off 3. Cam is gonna get the last shot into Skyser, and even though this is looking like very dominant, no ults used by either team, by the way. There's still one more touch for Double Steed. One more good fight, but can they win against 4 ults, Jace?
I mean, I don't really think so. They might not necessarily get the touch, and if they do, it's going to have to be from Austin, who immediately leaves. Great early cage, is immediately countered, but when the Barrage gets laid on top, you can't do anything, and now they're down their tank in a 5v4. It's going to be rough.
Oh, wait. Austin, PJ, finding the pixel to Laser on Agua. Wait, we were already assigning winners, but there might just be a chance for Noble Steed to turn it around a big stomp.
This would be an illegal fight.
Wi-Fi is off the map.
No way. No way. Or just freaking it.
Cam,
they did enough time. That's a legal fight win from Noble Steed. We killed them out first. We just ultimed on it. Yeah, we gave flip on the point, but they don't have time to fight on the objective. And you win, surely. Crazy. You
gotta give it to Austin and PJ. Teaming up together, right, on a flank, finding a beautiful pick onto Agua. And again, we keep talking about this. The Kiriko lacking that character in the mirror match is gonna be really hard. But does Og find the stick? I don't think so. They're not gonna hit it, and this beat is gonna keep them up just for a little bit longer. Odin looking to seal the game off, and it looks like they're gonna do just that. Skies are dropping so low, and there will be no perk to keep you up through that. 3 people down for Double Steed, 3 points down, and Odin is completely back after that Colosseo blunder.
Yeah, there we go, and they get it to 90, and the best I think Noble Steed got was 99 on this point. And Odin, just no nonsense tied up on Saravasa. We're heading to Circuit Royale.
Finally, we see a not 2-0 score for the day, which seems to be far too common in the league today. But Cam, looking so good on the Maga, and one thing that I gotta highlight is that Odin, as soon as they notice that they're like about to win, they don't play around. They don't sit on point and think about what to do. They're playing in your face, aggressive, getting a big pick, and just capitalizing so much off of it.
So, and now, I mean, you know, Victor Nation, how are we feeling? Odin, pretty dominant 3-0. Those first 2 points particularly. Don't let some of the scores fool you. Odin were more than happy to concede point so many times. Noble Steed had to ult them, and that can be Maldracomp sometimes. But when you've got a person of a Laser's quality on the Sojourn, you're going to be at 100 railguns, and there's 100 railgun charge, like pretty perma right biscuit. There's only so many chances you can give. As I said, someone of that quality, a 100 charge railgun and an off angle, and the character is broken as Kiriko. That level of damage threshold to do something before it results in your death. First fight, point 1. Last fight, point 3. Mid fight, point 2. Opening fight, point 3. Laser hit so many high impact railguns that are just naturally fed to you because of the mirror. Wi-Fi can't compete with that. That's just a level of mechanical difference that exists from 2 players in the lobby. It's not even really a flame on Wi-Fi. Like, you're not mechanically as good as Laser. It's a completely fine thing to say. But really playing to the strengths. They were happy to take the mirror, I think, because Cam was comfortable enough, but it gave, for example, that Sojourn so much frag power, so much carry potential. Because when you get a lobby admin on Soj, if you're mechanically better, you can just take the Ego 1v1s, and Odin tried their best to keep them down. They actually really did. But again, that time when they tried to go after Laser, already built up a lot of railgun charge by shooting the Malga on the pre-fight, had the slow orb available as well. The cooldowns were still in the back pocket for Laser. Sojourn's just such a difficult character to deal with in that composition and in general. Might be playing a key factor on map 3. But if I'm Odin, if I'm Noble Steed, maybe I'll ban it.
Honestly, just like we were talking about, the Laser is just looking like a demon today, right? It's not crazy to say that he's definitely one of the bigger reasons that Odin is looking completely like, what else can I say but unstoppable during some of these fights. And we're moving on to Circuit Royale. A reminder, this is first of 2 for those that do not know. Whoever wins this match is going to secure themselves a win. Really slow map.
Yeah. Speaking of really fast, it's an absolute blitzering counter-attack from England. For about 95% of you in the Twitch chat currently crying that England are 1-0 up. Beautiful goal from them on the counter-attack as England 1, Mexico 0, just to give anyone an update in case they've got this monitor open and actually give a shit about the World Cup. Really nice goal. Nonetheless, rig ban from Odin is interesting. The Noble Steed... No, Noble Steed have played everyone, right? Because it's the mandatory playtime after being... Like, after map 1, you have to put anyone in that's played map 2 regardless of the result. Odin... Take the Sig ban. I think that's smart. So yeah, clearly it wasn't break. My fault. I was hallucinating. Faraban. Interesting. Faraban, interesting.
I do think the Farah...
Sorry did a good job playing it.
Yeah, I do think the Farah was pretty good.
Odin banning Sig though. Do they? Okay.
Yeah, it's I think it's not a bad.
Give me your thoughts while I rack my brain after rage baiting Mexican fans. Oh my god, it's too
I do gotta say that I think the ban is okay. You know, just making it so you don't have to force yourself to kind of play a comp that you're not probably too big of a fan of. And it also is gonna make the game a lot faster, in my opinion, which is definitely gonna favor Odin, looking really good. They're on the Widow. And they're gonna stick it because they are on defense. A Widow matchup in recent memory, we haven't seen a lot of a lot of Widow in Circuit Royale. We've been seeing a lot of Hanzo. Widow players definitely not favoring the character as of late, but we're gonna have it right here. Sry on the NG, very aggressive comp from Odin.
This is definitely a map for it though, if anything. Noble Steed. Again, going for the double flex. They seem to be quite fans of it. And to be honest, like particularly if you're not feeling confident on the Lucio, this map don't think requires Lucio that much. Sorry now going to pull out the Genji, but Laser loves Widow. Any excuse to play it. It's going to be a tough matchup for Og. Both teams may be favouring the Ramatra cam rather than wanting to play Sig himself. So,
a couple of crazy Widow shots already. Nothing really hitting just yet, making it a little bit of oh my god, a little bit of a battle of attrition. Who's gonna find the first shot? A lot of these fights are gonna be determined of one of these players. It's kind of what you subscribe to when you're on this map, and and Laser just seeing each other, staring at each other, not quite finding anything just yet. But the payload has reached this corner, and this is where we're gonna be stuck for a while. Agua on the Baptiste, gonna favor a lot of the longer fights. A lot of damage incoming for Skyser.
Yeah, I think Odin's backlines in particular this map are going to really have to press their primary fire buttons and do some damage into these tanks, because otherwise I don't know where it comes from. Both of these teams, I think actually little low damage into the Ramatra, particularly when he's in form. They're going to be able to take so much space. Wi-Fi does have the potential wall that comes out. They might have to throw on the back of it. Not quite hitting the wall flow combo.
This thing, but oh my Cam! They already have Annihilation! Building it so quickly. I can't believe they have it. Like, genuinely, this is a little bit crazy.
And they're losing. And they're losing.
Doing as much as they can to try and keep them
and they lost.
And keep them slow. Yeah, and this is just a fight loss for Odin. Even though you missed the 2 ults.
We invested 2 ults. This window from Agua is illegally late because that was not on my screen when I checked 3 seconds ago. So that's the support. That's the support ult moment. Happens sometimes. Try to flip it. Just gonna go on here again. Cam built that ult extraordinarily fast. And we still lost. It wasn't the Ram. Everyone else died around them after. Honestly, I ain't sure how, Queen.
Oh my god, we're popping sites early. Laser trying to look for something here, but this is not the angle to fight on. I don't think so. At least this Widow 1v1 is going to happen. Do you take it? Even though they have sights, this is going to be looking away. Laser, you have to manage so many little things, and this Ramatra is just on your backline, popping Annihilation to try and sustain them just a little bit more. 2 people down. Every support picked up by Skyser, and Sry is only left behind. Odin looking a little bit outpaced in this game.
I think so. Sometimes it's just the case of the tempo can really shock you. And yeah, it's going to be hard just this payload is slowly rolling in. Blizzard has been committed, so it's not quite the absolute free fight win that this point of the map normally is when you have a main, because of the strength of Blizzard in this particular area. But Crow just, for lack of a better word, fucking leaves it down. Like,
no, absolutely.
Did our Lucio need to talk? Did we?
And you know who else?
We were speeding in with him. Like,
you know who else is running it down? Skyser, getting nanoed and just showing them what's what. Austin investing that nano and getting a lot of value out of it. 5 minutes and ticking. Jace After a beautiful win from Odin, because that's the only thing you can call it, it looks like Noble Seed is on the driver's seat, but we're in this last point, which is not the easiest to take, that's for sure.
No. One thing I do want to point out is that I'm not going to dogpile too much because Crow's an infinitely better player than me, but I feel like sometimes in these compositions that the Lucio, sometimes it lacks in value compared to the Flex DPS because the speed is never fully utilized, but Cam is in.
Cam is in and popping Annihilation, giving themselves a second HP bar. This is a boss fight that you cannot run your way out of. And that's going to be 3 people down. Odin finally stabilizing, but you lost your Blade, you lost your Annihilation, and Noble Seed are going to come back with a Blizzard, and you don't really have any way to get out of it other than a well-timed Susu, and you never know if they're going to just wait for it, you never know what's going to happen. This is a fight where Noble Steed has to think about their ults really carefully.
We've said that the whole game, right? Like, you've got to use your ult carefully here. Wi-Fi potentially gets caught. They could have a Blizzard. They decide to go for it.
Laser! Opening up! Massive pick onto the Ana. Denying. Oh my god, Skyser! Just diving onto the back. Who said that Ramatra was not a dive hero? You're trying to use that Vortex onto the Genji to secure the pick. And beautiful stagger, look at this! Preventing Cam from reaching the back of his team. Slowed down, frozen. And that is going to hurt you a lot.
This May Freeze perk is going to be so important as we're getting a beautiful show of our graphics.
It's true, it's true.
As Odin missing with the Lucio to hopefully try and speed away, but just Noble Steed having such more base sustain with the anti and the main actually making a massive difference. Laser, he's the playmaker for Odin's down.
Opening up with a banger. We were talking about Laser earlier, and it seems like they want us to talk about them as well. Opening with 2 picks, Wi-Fi denying the entirety of payload, and just freezing stride. Try to deflect that as the secure point with 3 minutes and ticking. Jace, I just don't get it. Odin looking so dominant in the first 2 games, and then you have like the second one is not even close, and this third one, the tables have completely flipped.
I mean, we just kind of saw, you know, close game, nice comeback, stomp, and then now we're kind of seeing stomp a little bit. Odin can't get out the box. Like, look how little damage the DPS were able to do for the side of Odin. Completely vegan comp in comparison to Odin Wi-Fi. Like 2.1k damage from your Genji is just like disgusting for that map. You've got to do so much more than that. Wi-Fi really showing off the power of the May. Like, your May did 4.9k damage. Got that deep freeze perk early and absolutely mattered. So it's going to have to be a heck of a mountain to climb. 3 minutes from here. Like, when you have this much of a time bank biscuit, it completely reshapes how you play this map. Because all of a sudden, you're not trying to win every fight. You're not really trying to create a snowball effect. You know, like, you can give area of the map. You can stack an ultimate or 2. You just can afford yourself to be like, hey, okay, they're going to if they finish the map, that's fine. If they finish the map with a minute left, that's good for us. We've got a massive time bank to work with. So now, Odin, they not only have to win the map, they've got to win it quick. And that can add pressure. You can over-ult into fight. You can go for ego plays. You might not need to. You can rush cleanups in fights. And as we saw in Ceravasa, Noble Seed are comfy playing down 1.
Yeah, and I think I got to shout out is the Cat Bastion. I don't want to call it all the meta, but we did see this be very prominent. What a competitive play and community play for a little bit. The turret is going to come out, and this is when you got to take space if you are Odin, and that's exactly what you do. You're pushing them back almost to the last part of the map. Jay, it's so impressive.
Yeah, look at the free high ground and angle that they get. Noble Steed all forced to swing the corner, but I don't think Odin can really wide peek with it. They can't beat the Bastion, so they've got to give that pressure. Odin get a little bit of free cock. Let's see if we try again.
Pro seeing what they can pick up, and it seems like they're gonna get exactly that. Austin just stuck in this little room, and will they get picked off? I think this is a good chance for Odin to try and push their advantage for a little bit, but they stabilize for a little bit longer. Skyser is not gonna have form for this though, and this Maga might just have the chance to run at them. Ugh, no more shot on Laser. It's about to get their ult. So many moving parts, but it seems like Odin a little bit in the lead. Look at this, just flying at you. Does Ugg die to this?
No, we can't hit the Bastion. We can't hit the Bastion with Sojourn, by the way. That's such a hard hit. Cam is frozen, and you're going to be able to hit that 9 times.
Laser investing their ult on a lost fight, I do gotta say, not the best thing to do right there. And Wi-Fi, really good recognition. They see Laser and Crow going over onto their backline, so they just walk forward and freeze the tank. That's all you gotta do, really.
May too good. Just again, this map has had Wi-Fi frame all over it, as it did in map 1. To be fair, and Noble Steed looks very, very confident. There's now 2 minutes left. Odin, they've got Kitsune rush. Cam's already on the
Oh my god. Cam getting so low, it's gonna make it incredibly hard. It's gonna make it incredibly hard to walk back in, but this Ramatra, you're gonna suffer at the hands of these little chain guns and the nano to keep Skyzer alive. It doesn't hurt you, but it definitely is gonna make it hard to take space aggressively. This cat is gonna request a little bit of a lift around here. Are we gonna pop Annihilation? I think we might just need to. The Sky is gonna be covered on this noon, and this Ana is just gonna die. Nothing you can do about it, Austin. Caught between a cat and a little bit of road right there. Does this kill the Maga though? In this cage fight, it seems Cam getting so much value off of the one cage. And Jace, we said that they're not playing necessarily to win, and honestly, this is a fine loss for Noble Steed. The timer is not looking good for them.
They're going to have a monstrous fight on Blizzard here. What they need to do, I think, ideally for Noble Steed is so they can win this fight without using Blizzard. Then, with where the card is, they might have an even better Blizzard fight. Or even if they lose this one, on the retake, I think Blizzard might be really good as well. Laser going for what we described as the lethal Bastion. Looking for ultimates at the start of the fight. Wi-Fi might take a chunk of damage now.
No, forcing out the block though, which is gonna definitely hurt their sustain a little bit. Using the wall, Wi-Fi out of cooldowns, and this is not the best thing to do, especially when this Bastion is already kind of ready to dive on your backline. A lot of people getting a little bit low. Wi-Fi still no wall, still no block, and this is gonna be a big stomp from Maga. Will this get anything? Yes, Wi-Fi. Again, we were saying no sustain, nothing you can do about it. Can we keep Laser up though? No. Frozen and shot by everyone on your team, but you've invested every resource to kill Laser, and you're gonna pay for it.
Yeah, this ultimate from Skyzer is desperate. It's just to win the fight. It might not matter in the end. It completely expires. You get another slower form, and the armor refresh might just be good enough. But this one fight, I don't think it benefits Noble Steed. Skyzer seems more charging that. It's not really what you want to see, as we said. Noble Steed talk about the carry back, but they ult them into kind of a quick fight loss as well. Wi-Fi do so much though, I think, even in some of these fights. Now has the defense turned active as well. Saw how quickly that one got set onto Cam. This now they're going to have even more of a tough time heading into
Cam looking for a little bit of a different angle to go, and again, Wi-Fi burning block so early is going to hurt you. They do have to touch the points, I understand, but at the end of the day, missing all of your cooldowns is going to make it impossible to live on point, and that is just cleanup crew from the side of Laser and Shry, finding the picks. But again, the timer's ticking, and even if they were to completely leave the game, Odin would reach the point way later than Noble Steed has.
And honestly, Biscuit, like, speaking quite frankly here, sister woman, sometimes people can just get in their own heads in terms of character selections and these officials. Like, Sorry was on Genji, and it was kind of a sorry performance excuse for them not making that one again. Now they're just on Cassidy, they look way more comfortable, and they're frying. Noble Steed on Mal, the double hit stand. There's no way that's real.
High Noon, look up at the sky. That's a flying Sorry. Finding the pick onto Wi-Fi, just diving them. Who said that this is not a dive comp? But so much damage is going onto Laser, and they're surviving. No, oh, never mind. This is gonna be a nano, keeping Skyzer alive long enough to win the fight, and maybe the whole battle. Skyzer killing all that, even off cam, clashing into each other, and this is just, you gotta give it to Austin, recognizing that nano was gonna win them the fight, and Skyzer doesn't even need to look at the people they're killing. They just keep them on fire, and that's enough.
Yeah, huge nano good nade as well in that exit fight. So for the matchup for Bastion versus Mauga, by the way I understand it is if obviously the longer the Bastion gets on fire, the worse it gets. But also if the Mauga has shouts, or if there's any cooldown health from either side in the individual isolated one, whichever team has the cooldown advantage basically. If there's no cardiac arrest, cardiac overdrive, which is still I completely got this fight, whatever. Laser nice pick on sword.
Overextending a little bit. Pro is gonna be right there to help their Kiriko stay alive, and this is just crumbling down. Noble Steed individual picks are turning into the whole team just dying. This Maga getting swiped out. You're gonna go down. Another Kitsune coming out, a last ditch effort for Noble Steed to recover this fight, but it's not going to be enough.
And even though the timer's down a little bit, this is not an insurmountable lead. A minute 20 seconds is a lot, yes, but Jace, not impossible by any means.
No, not impossible at all. And Odin seemed to be slowly figuring out the pieces and the answers. Back to what I was saying about Mauga versus Bastion, because I completely messed up that fight analysis. If both teams have cooldowns available, like if Form is available and the cardiac overdrive is available, then I believe the Mauga wins basically 9 times out of 10. So then you need a Suzu, you need an Anti, you need a Railgun to hit. But in terms of the isolation, most of the time the Mauga can't sustain through the Bastion form actually because of their easiness to crit and overhealth. But as we're moving into overtime here, right?
Yes, yes,
it's different now because it basically into the.
What matters is that we fight to the very last second.
Yeah, there are not many shields to try and hold off like the burst damage, right? It definitely kind of guts your ability to do continuous damage, but you're still able to burst really, really quickly. And it might just be what you need in this matchup. Odin is going to be the first ones to open up. 1:30 on the clock. Is this enough to get them to move forward in the match? We'll find out. Laser, I think their perk surely has been chosen at this point. There's a flying tank in the air, and you just
So sometimes with Widow, you can respect it too much, or you can under-respect it.
Crow taking a little bit of damage, but it's not enough to kill them. And look at this, the value from and I don't even want to call Laser not technical, but giving them a little bit of forgiveness, right, in these aerial shots where it's just kind of hard to do it. Crow in an intense 1v1, using the pack to restabilize, and we're coming back. Yeah, this Widow will not live today, or at least that's what I like to think. Yes. Laser, good job finishing off what Crow had started, and this is just going to be another pick up the Skyzer, and you have to chain this into the point win. You cannot let them get out if you're Odin, or they will come back and bite you.
It's important to remember that Odin are trying to win this, and they're trying to push with time on the clock as well. And it's important to remember that Cats historically have high win rates against Spiders, so Odin's really going to struggle.
True, you cannot ignore the historical matchup. Skyster trying to hold off so many different people here, but now there's a Bastion in the sky, and all you can really do as Ramatra is just kind of hope that your teammates don't completely crumble, and it seems like that's exactly what happened. Cardiac overdrive being popped is gonna hurt your ability to do long fights, and we're going into overtime, Jace. The sights are gonna be online, but UG completely out of the fight, even if it's just for a couple of seconds. Wi-Fi trying to do as much damage as they can from a distance, but it's not going to be enough to help their team win. Austin dies, Skyzer as well, and if you're Odin, you need to chain these picks. Keep getting the momentum.
It's time for Noble Steed to get off double hit stand, I think. And the unfortunate curse with hit stand players is sometimes they just want to go the hit stand on the hit stand maps and ego the other DPS. UG and Wi-Fi, I think, particularly UG, looking a bit too much for the CXX kind of 1v1. It's just a really common behavior I see from hit stand players. Camdits actually, I don't think they have the damage to kill it. Yes, they do. And UG finally hits that shot, so that's the important fight when it's continued destruction. Nano as well, and Noble Steed. Just as I was saying, they needed to swap it. They had just enough ultimates to go against their comp disadvantage. What do I know about Overwatch, by the way? What do I know? I'm just talking shit.
I'm sorry. I don't want to flame, and I don't want to sound like I'm flaming, but
flame me.
Why are they so overextended? Like their team is nowhere close. Like no one is close. 4 people on payload.
Cam was very deep there.
I don't quite understand why. I mean, you're gonna get slapped. You're gonna get antied. You're gonna get vortexed. You're gonna get walled. I feel like they should have some miscommunication, a form of miscommunication, and you gotta shake it off. You cannot let this be the way that your game ends. We're gonna still stick onto the Mauga, and you know what, Jace? I think I don't understand. I think this Widow is not getting as much value as they should be.
I agree. And particularly when, like, Crow is going to be impossible to one-shot. Agua should barely get one-shot because they're not going to be playing outside of cover. Laser can't get one-shot. So Sorry is, like, the main person you're going to be headshotting there as the Widow. And then after you do, you can fair enough do pretty big chip damage into Cam, to be fair. Like, Cam and Laser can both get chip damage by the headshot once form ends. But I just think ultimately paired with the Sojourn, I just think the Widow doesn't offer enough in the neutral. As I said, Widow is a very feast or famine character. And I think it's a trait of Widow players to sometimes overforce it and play it when you can just give up the ghost and something that's more confident and assured in the neutral. You want guarantees, you want efficiency. I do anyway. Like, I'm not losing the map because I'm flipping it on my Widow play, get Widow make a player hitting shots or not. I absolutely hate that.
Look at Laser though, forcing Wi-Fi out so hard. But now your Bastion is a little bit deep and you gotta help them get out. That nade is gonna do just that. Crow. Really good job from Crow. Noticing, hey, we just gotta go for really early picks. And every early fight win, Jace, turns into a stagger. It turns into someone having to wait to come back and just you're bleeding time out.
Yeah, as I said, like if I'm Noble Steed, I'm not losing the map on my Widow Major player hitting shots or not, because that's what it felt entirely reliant on. I understand maybe the long range pressure, the sidelines, or just wants to play because most of you can play something else, sure. If you can play Widow, you can play Odin.
But I think you need a lot of sustained damage to force the Maga not to be able to engage on you. And look at this, Laser is back in the sky. Wi-Fi on Reaper is gonna be able to sustain so much damage. Oh my god, yeah, sniping Agua is really good, and it's gonna force Cam out.
Laser just killed two in the back.
Laser is not forced out. They do not care if their support is there, because all they need is the damage reduction from that Bastion form, and you're still 2 people down. You're still engaging though. Noble Steed definitely feeling a little bit desperate, but it doesn't matter. Good job. Picking off both DPS is gonna give them enough time to try and set up a play.
Quite even so far. 50 seconds left means these ultimates are pretty much going to be the last ones that we see Noble Steed run this in. So now, Noble Steed is going to be a really hard push. Are they going to touch this? This could be a potentially crazy punish if Odin
I'm going for a touchdown. Look at this, going for the Sky Deadeye. No one is going to, or yes, Austin dies! Dying on Ana is definitely not what you want playing so together, but what can you do there to survive? Nothing. The Surrey hit the shot. You need to hit these. Yes, 1, 2. A combo is going to find out PJ. 2 people down for the side of Odin, but honestly, you still have Maga Cage, and you have Maga, most importantly, into Sky.
This was so risky. This was so risky from Odin. This was so risky from Odin, and they ult dump, but they potentially have the option to play against the ramp, the natural advantage of the map, but they don't want to risk it. And the fight is now Noble Steed has to push to the payload, and their ultimate's basically.
Wi-Fi's looking for touch, and Wi-Fi does manage to touch. 1 second ticking, but now there's just so many things. Yes, the Great Cage is gonna make it impossible to live, or that's what you would think. Nano's coming out, getting so low on the side of Austin. Can you live through this engage? I don't think so. Look at that, Laser going down. Dishonesty has been punished in BPL, everyone. Sorry. Trying to pick up the Wi-Fi. Austin going down, getting dealt by this Maga. He's going to turn into a dead tank. Is it enough though? 3 people down for the side of Odin. 4! And that's gonna be it.
Odin still killed like 3 in this last fight, but Odin, they gamble and they go with the strength and the endurance, the courage of gods. And yeah, the Greek god, the All-Father himself looked down at them with a mighty smile, and they are favoured, they are rewarded by the deities, going for that brave fight at the end there. So I think that was a close call, a risky call to stomp that late and go for the killing rush. Budge actually did quite well on Sojourn once they swapped, but ultimately I think their Widow presence on the first point just gave them a little bit too much of a too much room to climb, right? Too much of a mountain to climb ultimately.
A little bit Odin. Of typing at the end of the map as well. It seems like Noble Steed doesn't appreciate the Cat Bastion combo. And honestly,
you could have banned it at any point.
Sure.
I guess it wasn't really. It was played. Was it played on Cerebasa? Did they play it on server?
No, they did not play it on Cerebasa. It was all just normal Maga.
There you go. Then I just didn't really, unfortunately, couldn't prepare for it. Didn't really expect to play it. But Odin,
and I gotta say,
comfortable last 2 maps.
it must hurt after like such a big play at the end. Again, a beautiful highlight on Colosseo.
Yeah.
But if you gotta talk about beautiful plays and something that makes people win, it's your DPS, and Laser today, I think, is definitely our MVP for the side of Odin, just hitting almost every shot that counts. And again, their Sojourn impressive. On Surabasa, beautiful, clean, 3 people a fight. And on that last one, maybe not the most mechanically impressive, Jace, but still on the Bastion, they were doing what they have to do to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes harder to hit shots on the Bastion than you think it is. The one thing I will say is that the cat angles from Crow were like so good. Definitely got more value than I think Alicia would in that series. And it definitely feels harder to beat than it is sometimes to play, admittedly, the cat Bastion. But it just gives so much prowess and priority over to your DPS to be able to make those big carry plays. But play with the series Laser. I think Austin died for a couple of these high noons, taking advantage of the fact that Anna isn't very mobile. They stepped out of cover for too long. It's really hard to find cover from a high noon Cassidy right on top of your head. So really good punishes. One of the few ways you can punish the double flex support is just by airdropping your Bastion into the back line. So ultimately, Noble Steed made some calls and Odin out executed. That's going to be a 2-1 win for them. I'm sure their blushes are spared. Biscuit, should we wrap up and get out of here for the evening?
Absolutely. I do want to say shout out to both of the teams who are playing a really, really good game. Noble Steed, even though they lose against Surabasa, not particularly close, but this last map, just completely amazing to watch. Both teams going at each other. Congratulations to Laser for earning MVP. Definitely earning it. Shot by shot, kill by kill. And both of these teams giving us a very, very good show. Let's look at our standings before we head out for the day. It's going to be updated. And Odin taking this first spot, deservedly, as you were saying. This roster looks almost illegal. Noble Steed 1 and 2, but their map score not the worst at all. And this, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be the end of the day. There might be some games happening. I'm not completely sure, but Jace, thank you so much for casting with me. It was quite a ride. Congrats to Odin for winning. Good luck in the future for the next couple of games. The season is almost halfway over. Shout out to Nock, shout out to Mochi, setting up a very impromptu stream. But again, thank you very much for making this happen. Shout out to everyone. And
all right, thank you guys. Well,
we will see you in the future for more BPL Season 8.
Yo, vamos.